Metro Manila and nearby provinces experience a 3-hour rotational brownout today. The Bureau of Internal Revenue to strictly implement the April 15 deadline of filing of income tax returns. 65 million pesos worth of counterfeit products destroyed at Camp Crame. And the Philippine National Police names candidates allegedly supported by the New People's Army and drug syndicates. Good evening. Thousands of residents from Metro Manila and neighboring provinces experienced a 3-hour rotational brownout today. Joanano tells us why.
Last night, Marie Luis Kakapit and her children stayed inside their car because of the brownout experience in Barangay Santo Cristo, Quezon City. Marie said because it was too hot in their house, they opted to stay inside their car. They turned on the car AC for her children to fall asleep.
Wala na nga tubig, wala pang kuryente, napaka-init pa ng panahon na maiiyak ka na sa sobrang init.
Carmelita Inocencio, who lives nearby, experienced the same thing.
Sobra talagang init, grabe talaga na-stroke ba ho ako. Sasahig na nga ako humano sa simento para mahangin-hanginan yung dito ko. Malamig-lamigan.
And today, thousands of residents in Metro Manila and nearby provinces in Luzon experienced a 3-hour power interruption. The entire Quezon City, Manila, Caloocan, Parañaque, Las Piñas, Muntinlupa, and several towns of Bulacan and Cavite are the areas affected by what Manila Electric Company or Meralco calls manual load dropping. The Luzon grid was also placed on red alert anew. According to the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines or NGCP, the notice is up for 13 hours from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Based on NGCP's data, the power demand is as high as 10,334 megawatts versus the supply capacity of 10,220 megawatts only. This means there is thin power reserve for today.
Ngayon negative na, ibig sabihin wala na talagang tayong mapapagkunang reserba. In fact, deficiency na tayo. Pag sinabi mo kasing red alert, Ivan, nangangahulugan lang yan, wala ka ng makukuhang reserba para punuan yung pagkukulang. No?
According to the Department of Energy or DOE, they did not expect the situation of the power reserve to reach a red alert status. 4 power plants suddenly failed while another shut down although it wasn't scheduled.
Nagkaroon ng pag-shutdown yung SPCP, dagdag itong planta na nagbumigay. No? So it conked out and it added another 150 megawatts doon sa mga naka-out na planta. So yung 4 na planta plus this one, 150 megawatts, lumala yung sitwasyon.
The DOE said they are expecting another alert status tomorrow, which may also happen until Tuesday. The Energy Department, however, hopes the power supply situation will return to normal next week as a plant which temporarily shut down is scheduled to reopen. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue will strictly implement the April 15 deadline of filing of income tax return. The agency advises taxpayers to use its electronic services to fast-track the process of ITR filing. Nel Maribok tells us why.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR District 38 office in Quezon City was not packed with taxpayers who filed their income tax return or ITR earlier today. The BIR expects a huge number of taxpayers on the April 15 deadline. According to the agency, it is now easy and convenient to file an ITR. Using the BIR's Electronic Filing and Payment System or EFPS, a taxpayer does not need to go to revenue districts. To get started, log on to www.bir.gov.ph. Click e-services and the EFPS icon. Click enroll to EFPS and accomplish the form. Submit a certificate for 3 officers designated to file a return for non-individuals only and wait for a confirmation email. Get the reference number and pay via the e-pay system on the BIR portal.
Mas mapapabilis po natin nung naka-online na po siya na kung wala naman pong attachment, sir, mas mabilis kasi hindi na po sila pipila pa po para magpunta sa mga district na sakop nung kanila pong pinapa-receive. So, pagka naman po siya, sir, may attachment, yung kanilang ITR, tapos naka-online, nire-receive po namin dito yung sa aming opisina.
The second option is to download and install the EBIR Forms application. Fill out the correct form, click the validated and final copy, wait for the confirmation email, print out the form, and pay in authorized banks or through other modes of payment. Several taxpayers gladly welcome the payment scheme.
Mabilis naman. Ilang minutes lang naman ako nandito.
Mabilis naman po yung process. Wala pong hassle.
For those who will file their ITR for the first time, there are things you should remember to prevent any problems or delays. First, know your revenue district where you can file additional documents for your ITR. Use the correct and latest version of the appropriate form. For individuals earning purely from compensation or employment, use Form 1700. Normally, the employer does the ITR filing. Form 1701 is for mixed income earner. The new 1701A form for individuals earning purely from business or profession. For 1702EX is for corporations, partnerships, and other non-individual taxpayers that are exempted under the tax code. But those who have mixed income use Form 1702MX. Form 1702RT is for corporations and partnerships that are subject only to regular income tax rate. For taxpayers who are still confused and do not know how to use the EBIR Forms application, you may visit your Revenue District Office. There are BIR personnel ready to assist your ITR filing. The BIR calls on the public not to wait for the deadline to file their ITR. The agency will open their district offices on Saturday, April 13 to accept ITR filing.
Sana po wag na po niyong paabutin pa na lumagpas tayo sa deadline para po hindi rin po kayo maabala or mag-penalty. Sayang din po yung penalties.
The BIR targets to collect a 2.33 trillion peso revenue for this year, more than 1 trillion pesos of which will come from income taxes. Nel Maribuho, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines continues its campaign against counterfeiting in the country. Victor Casare explains why.
April is celebrated in the Philippines as the National Intellectual Property Month. In its bid to set reforms to combat piracy and counterfeiting, the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, or IPOPHIL, destroyed over 65 million peso worth of counterfeit products in Camp Crame this morning. The fake goods destroyed by the 12-member Anti-Piracy Task Force include Louis Vuitton wallets, bags and cell phone and notepad cases, shoes of various known brands, Rolex watches, cigarettes, and Lacoste shirts, among others. Intellectual Property Office Director General Attorney Josephine Santiago said these products are but a portion of the 23.6 billion peso worth of fake products the National Committee on Intellectual Property Rights seized in 2018. In 2017, the NCIPR captured a total of 8.2 billion peso worth of goods, with bulk of the items comprising of consumer electronics. Santiago appeals to the public not to patronize counterfeit products that affect legitimate businesses in the country.
Dalawa po ang kailangan pong magtulungan dito, yung mga brand owners at ang ating law enforcement agency. Hindi po makakakilos po ang law enforcement agency na wala pong pahintulot o kaalaman ang ating brand owners.
IPO Deputy Director Attorney Ted Pascua added they will also look into fake medicines and cosmetic materials that surely affect the health of the public.
Any amount on counterfeit pharmaceuticals is alarming. Any amount. Kasi you just don't know one tablet can kill somebody.
According to IPOPHIL, seizing millions worth of fake and pirated goods also means saving the public from millions of health and safety risks that unsafe fake items may pose. The Philippine National Police, for their part, assure they will help in the government's campaign against counterfeiting. Victor Casare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Did you know there are swimming pools open to the public within Metro Manila? Let's find out where these are and when is the best time to visit them from Monoxon.
Are you on a tight budget this hot season? No time to go to the beach because it is several hours of drive away. Don't worry because we found swimming pools open to the public. And take note, they are within Metro Manila. If you live in Quezon City, you don't need to go far. because there is a public swimming pool near you. In Barangay Paligsahan, Quezon City, you can visit the Amoranto Sports Complex on Roses Avenue. For just 25 pesos per person, you can enjoy swimming without traveling far. The swimming pool in Amoranto is open from 9 a.m. to 12 noon and from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It is closed every Monday to change the water in the pool. The deepest part of the Olympic-sized pool is 6 feet, while the shallowest part for children is 4 feet. If you want to experience the countryside breeze even in Metro Manila, visit De La Mesa Eco Park in Fairview, Quezon City. You will be mesmerized by the Eco Park's beauty. You might even forget you are still in the city. You can relax and swim in the pool this hot season for only 80 pesos. De La Mesa Eco Park is open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. Many kids enjoy swimming in the pool because it's the school break.
Dive po.
Dive tapos?
Lumangoy.
Lumangoy. Marunong ka naman lumangoy. Ayan.
Nag-aaral lumangoy.
Aral lumangoy.
Hindi po ako marunong eh.
Sino turo sa'yo?
Wala.
Ikaw lang.
Nanonood lang po ako sa TV.
The shallowest part of the pool is 3 feet, while the deepest is 6 feet. Don't worry because there are lifeguards on duty. If you don't have a car, you can ride a tricycle going to the Eco Park. A tricycle ride costs only 50 pesos. In Marikina City, you will find the Marikina Sports Park. It has a 5 feet deep Olympic-sized swimming pool that is loved by many. You can go to the Marikina Sports Park by riding a jeepney. Just ask for the location of the municipal hall and you can easily find the sports park. The swimming pool is open to the public from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. every day. The entrance fee costs only 40 pesos for daytime swimming and 60 pesos for night swimming. But if you just want to stay at home, you can buy an inflatable kiddie pool. Just place it outside your house, fill it with water, and voila! You have an instant pool to stay cool. You can save time and money, and the kids will surely enjoy. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
Cebu locals and tourists celebrate and enjoy the Cadogan Festival with lots of food and various cuisines. Gladys Toabi tells us why.
The Festival of Cadogan sa Mactan or Victory of Mactan is known as a celebration in Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu in the month of April. The festival is organized annually to honor Lapu-Lapu chieftain and his triumph over Magellan that dates back to 16th century. This is a major attraction for the tourists and the locals in the city and draws a lot of crowd. And part of the celebration is a food festival, which feature today local products, local foods, and international cuisine. Senator Cynthia Villar, the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Agriculture, graced the occasion. One of the exhibitors is the Solea Mactan Cebu Resort, which showcases the menu they serve to the resort guests. Visitors in the festival are glad for the lower prices the food stalls offered.
Muling i-look forward since makakaon ka ng mga hotels nga mga food at a very affordable price. Nagyapon sa iyang price nga less than 100, lamig yapon ang serving kay okay ra.
About 62 food stalls participated in the food festival, and more exhibitors are expected to join the event in the coming days. People will witness the most awaited cinematic performance of the Cadogan reenactment on April 27. The celebration officially began yesterday and will run until April 30th. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Cebu.
President Rodrigo Duterte warns of vetoing the entire 2019 national budget. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
During the PDP Laban campaign rally in Bacolod City last night, President Rodrigo Duterte explained the need to have allies in Congress to implement the programs of his administration. This as the chief executive mentioned the possibility of vetoing the 3.757 trillion pesos national budget for 2019. He said the Office of the President's Legal Department is still studying the budget. But once proven problematic, the President said he will not sign it.
Kita mo yung budget. Ang budget kasi submit lang. I have to sign it pagdating ko, pagbalik ko pa. pinag-aralan pa, galing budget to the Office of the President. The Office of the President is not the budget. So, ang legal ko magbasa uli. Ngayon, pagka talagang tagilid yan, I will outright veto the entire budget.
The 2019 General Appropriations Act or GAA had been pending for some months in Congress. This due to several controversies such as the alleged questionable insertions. And this is the reason why the Philippine government has been operating under a reenacted budget since January 2019.
Hindi makagsundo ang Congress pati Senado eh. And yung mga insertions dyan, titignan ko. Pagka tagilid talaga, I will not hesitate. I will not hesitate to veto the entire budget. Di pasensya tayo lahat.
The GAA will lapse into law on April 26. Meanwhile, the palace says the economic managers of the Duterte administration have contingency plans as to the possibility of having reenacted budget for the whole year. According to presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo, the Duterte administration will adjust their targets, which include execution of programs and projects in relation to infrastructure as well as delivery of basic services to people. Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Part of President Rodrigo Duterte's power is vetoing bills. This is the point of view of senators after the president said he would veto the 3.7 trillion peso 2019 national budget if he saw any irregularities. According to Senator Coco Pimentel, without the approval of the 2019 General Appropriations Act, the country will survive the year by operating under the previous year's budget. Senator Pimentel added that vetoing the bill could be the chief executive's way of saying to Congress to get their act together. For Senate Committee on Finance Chairperson Senator Loren Legarda, it is the President's prerogative, adding that they will respect whatever his decision will be. Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon believes the same. He said to veto the entire budget is a prerogative and power of the President under the Constitution. Even for Senator Panfilo Lacson, it is well within the President's legal authority to veto in whole or in parts the enrolled bill. This although he also fears of the negative effect on the economy. Meanwhile, Presidential Spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Secretary Salvador Panelo said there is a possibility the President would sign the budget after the long weekend.
Kinalindar na pero mukhang pinag-aaralan pa. Baka after Holy Week.
The UNTV News team asked employees from different industries if they can survive a day with only 70 pesos, which is based on a recent poverty incidence report. Let's find out what Filipino employees do with a 70 peso daily allowance from Ray Pelayo.
The latest poverty incidence report of the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA suggests that an average Filipino family with 5 members can survive a month's worth of expenses with only 10,481 pesos. This is equivalent to a daily budget allocation of 350 pesos or a 70 peso allowance a day for each member of the family. Some average employees from various industries find the report amusing. Emmanuel Guañezo, a security guard, said he spends 150 pesos a day, 50 pesos of which he allots for his motorcycle's fuel. He believes he can survive with only 70 pesos a day. That's a real challenge.
Siguro kung walang-wala talaga, kaya naman po siguro. Hindi ka na lang siguro magbe-merienda. Ganun.
Office worker Cristel Merle, meanwhile, said she spends 300 to 400 pesos a day. She lives in Bulacan and spends 120 pesos for transportation going to work at the Department of Agriculture office in Quezon City.
Magkano yung nabili mo ngayon na pagkain pang tanghalian?
77 pesos po.
Ano yung mga nabili mo?
Ito, kalahating gulay, 15 pesos. Tapos, chicken, ano siya, nasa 50. Tapos, may saging pa akong binili. 9 pesos siya.
Unlike Cristel, Colleen Cecily Gacula's office is just at a walking distance from her home. She said surviving a day with only 70 pesos is nearly impossible.
Siguro pasit-pasit kanton, kasya naman, pero malabo po talaga yung 70 pesos per day.
Nico Gakutan, a construction worker, said taking a bath has been part of his expenses for the day.
Isang balde, 5 piso. Ayan sa scatter namin, binibili namin yung tubig.
He said 70 pesos is definitely not enough as he allocates 80 pesos only for viand. Larry Laida, meanwhile, is a taxi driver and earn more or less 13,000 pesos a month. For him, living with 70 pesos a day is quite manageable.
Kakasya sa sir kung tulad na hindi naman tayo maarte sa ulam. Simple lang at sa tulad ng mga gulay kanin lang.
Angelica Cabigaw goes to school with a 150 pesos daily allowance. But being a student nowadays, she said is hard with only 70 pesos a day.
Tapos yung food ko po, nagsuspend lang po ako ng pagka may sobra 50, pagka yung saktong-sakto lang 35. Tapos merienda mga biscuits lang 10 pesos.
Emerly Mercado's family lives by the roadside in Tatalon, Quezon City. She said they can survive with her husband's salary of 6,000 pesos a month. However, their budget allocation for food is 200 pesos a day.
Pag walang pambiling ulam, nag-ano kami sa noodles, itlog, yan.
Based on the PSA's report, Emerly's family belongs to the poor sector because they earn below the 10,000 peso monthly threshold. The PSA said the Philippines' poverty incidence declined by 21% in the first quarter of 2018, which is lower than 27.6% in the same period in 2015. Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
It's all systems go for the Philippine embassies worldwide for the overseas absentee voting, which begins tomorrow, April 13. Kath Dumaraos tells us why.
In Malaysia, the final testing of the precinct count optical scanner or PICOS machine and a mock voting recently held at the Philippine Embassy in Kuala Lumpur have been successful. There was also a briefing for voters, especially for the first-timers, to avoid overvoting. After the manual verification of vote results, the vote counting machines or VCM system was returned to zero. The SD cards and the VCM's ballot entry slots were sealed. In Australia, there were problems encountered during the final testing and sealing of the vote counting machines in Canberra. The VCM system hanged and did not function anymore. The backup VCM units were used instead. Afterwards, there were no more glitches encountered from the diagnostics to the trial vote counting. Beginning Saturday, April 13, the VCMs will be open every Mondays through Thursdays for the counting of ballots received. This will continue until the day of the elections on May 13 for the final counting.
Ito na yung pagkakataon natin para tumulong tayo sa pagtaguyod ng ating bayan and also an empowerment process for all of us Filipinos here abroad. So wag po nating sayangin itong opportunity na gusto po natin ng pagbabago sa ating bansa at tumulong sa ating nation building.
In Hong Kong, over 100,000 Filipinos registered for the May Pulse, according to the Commission on Elections. The poll body's voter education campaign, which aims to inform the voters about the candidates, has also been successful. And in Dubai, the final testing and sealing of VCMs was done in front of the public. This, as the Philippine Consulate General to Dubai, Paul Raymond Cortez, aims to have an election with transparency and integrity.
Itong overseas voting exercise natin ay isang napakahalagang obligasyon ng lahat ng overseas Filipino para maiparinig sa inang bayan kung sino ba ang tingin natin nararapat na mga leader ng mga bansa natin.
There are over 200,000 registered Filipino voters in Dubai and in the Northern Emirates, while there are over 100,000 in Abu Dhabi. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, on Thursday called on overseas Filipino workers in Sudan to exercise caution in light of the uncertainty caused by the current political crisis in the said country. In a statement issued on Thursday, the DFA echoed the call of the Philippine Embassy in Cairo for Filipinos in Khartoum to avoid crowded areas and stayed inside their homes while the protests are ongoing. Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir was overthrown in a military coup on Thursday, marking the end of his 30-long years of autocracy. Sudan's Ministry of Defense said the country would enter a 2-year period of military rule to be followed by presidential elections. For emergency assistance, the DFA urges Filipinos to contact the Philippine Embassy in Cairo, shown on your screens. They may also reach the embassy through its Facebook page. Two American golfers lead the Masters Golf Tournament in Augusta, Georgia. Ferdy Petalio will tell us why.
American Brooks Koepka, who has won 2 of the last 3 majors, held a share of the first-round Masters lead with fellow American Bryson DeChambeau, while 3-times champion Phil Mickelson was 1 shot off the pace on Thursday. Koepka used a combination of a jaw-dropping power and laser-like irons to card a 6-under par 66 to sit atop the leaderboard with Bryson DeChambeau, who came within inches of a closing eagle. American Koepka enjoyed a 4-hole birdie run from the 12th to pull ahead, but had to settle for a share of the lead after DeChambeau closed with 4 consecutive birdies. DeChambeau, who was playing 2 groups ahead of Koepka and nearly aced the par 3 16th, almost walked into the clubhouse with the outright lead, but his approach at the 18th rammed into the flagstick and settled inches away for a tap-in birdie. Mickelson, who at 48 is bidding to become the oldest Masters champion, stormed home with 5 birdies over the last 7 holes to add more power to a leaderboard that lacked punch for most of the day. Sitting 2 shots off the pace after a sunny day at Augusta National, where the wind picked up slightly as the day went on, were world number 2 Dustin Johnson and Englishman Ian Poulter. The Masters runs from April 11 to 14, 2019 at the Augusta National Golf Club, Augusta, Georgia. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue.
Wishers and local artists in Catbalogan City say they had an incredible experience as the iconic Wish Bus visited their city. Mirasol Abogadil will tell us why.
From the Philippines South, the iconic Wish Bus is back in the Eastern Visayas for more pit stops. The FM booth on wheels visited Catbalogan City first, where 3 local groups and 4 solo acts performed on the Wish Bus. One of them is 76 Receipts, which headed for Imelda Park all the way from Biliran Province, which is a 7-hour trip to Catbalogan City. The group performed their original composition entitled Pakiusap Lang.
Malaking karangalan na kami ay nandito na makapag-perform sa Wish, and of course we get to play our songs, promote our band, and at the same time to represent our province of Biliran.
Even Rosel Salinas, a Catbalogan City talent who joins local singing contests, had a chance to perform on the Wish Bus.
Sobrang saya kasi noon pinapangarap ko lang to kasi marami akong mga artist na nakikita na pinapangarap ko lang na makapasok ngayon sa Wish Bus. So ngayon natupad na po.
Local artists think they are ordinary, but with the Wish Bus, they can truly shine. That is why wishers in Catbalogan City said they enjoyed the amazing performances of the local artists they are proud of.
Mga sikat na mga banda, tapos yung mga artista sila Morissette, parang di mo makamaniwala na nandito talaga sila. Tapos ang ganda ng mga kumakanta sa loob. Hindi ako nag-expect na makikita ko tong bus kasi nakikita ko lang sa YouTube, sa social media. So I'm very happy and grateful na pumunta sila dito sa Catbalogan.
Watch out for the next Eastern Visayas leg pit stop of the one-of-a-kind Wish Bus. Just visit Wish 1075's Facebook page and website wish1075.com. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
Singapore's tourism officials hope the world's tallest indoor waterfall inside a retail complex will bring more travelers and visitors to the airport to shop and dine. Annie Mancilla will tell us why.
Flowing 40 meters down to the basement, a mighty cascade of water mesmerizes passerby and passengers as the sunlight catches the spray. Scores of visitors lined up on Thursday at the pre-opening for a glimpse of the rain vortex, an indoor waterfall that pours rainwater from the center of the glass and steel dome. One can relax at one of the many vantage points surrounding the rain vortex to enjoy the water show.
I think it's amazing. I feel like in Disney. It has a lot of nice vegetation and it's so, like, everything's so new for me.
Yes, that's the best place to come actually. You can spend a whole day here actually. So, and then secondly, you take 10,000 steps every day.
Housed under a dome of glass and steel in the soon-to-open Jewel Changi, the building spread over 135,700 square meters is designed by Moshi Safdie, the architect known for the Marina Bay Sands Resort, a boat-shaped landmark that has become synonymous with Singapore's skyline. According to Jewel Changi Airport Development CEO Hong Jin, local residents and families are welcome to spend the weekend here.
So it's much more than just a shopping mall. There are many faceted of offerings that we have in here. We have airport facilities, we also have gardens and attractions, and of course we have the many retail and dining options. With this, we hope to capture tourism mindshare and attract more tourists to Singapore.
As competition heats up in the aviation industry, Singapore's Changi Airport is set to open its 1.7 billion Singapore dollars Jewel complex on April 17. Changi Airport recently voted in a Skytrax survey as the world's best for the 7th year running, reported a record 65.6 million in passenger movements in 2018. Annie Mancilla, UNTV News and Rescue, Singapore.
And to complete the most significant news for the day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The Philippine National Police in the Calabarzon area continue to monitor politicians who are allegedly supported by drug syndicates and of the New People's Army. Sherwin Kulubong will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police or PNP Calabarzon held a command conference today at Camp Vicente Lim in Calamba, Laguna, where PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde was present. The PNP Calabarzon released a list of the names of the candidates in Batangas and Laguna who are said to be supported by syndicates and of the New People's Army or NPA.
Who is running for mayor, is reportedly being supported by members of Platoon Galaxy under sub-regional military area of the Southern Tagalog Regional Party Committee. And Mayor Amben Amante of Sambaco City and Board Member Dante Amante of the 3rd District of Laguna, who are reportedly being supported by the Amante drug group.
Former Vice Mayor Honorlito Solis, who is running for mayor in Lemery, Batangas, allegedly supported by NPA Platoon Galaxy under Sub-Regional Military Area o SRMA.
Ito yung intelligence information that we get and that we also the intelligence information that our lower units get. Kino-consolidate yan, and then it's being validated by the Regional Intelligence Division. Pwedeng, of course, we will be further getting evidence, and if evidence so warrants, we can apply search warrants against these people. Hindi lang tapos sa ganun yung nalistahan. If we get evidence na pwede tayong makapag-apply ng search warrant, we will do it. And of course, may iba pa rin yung mga surveillance na gagawin natin.
The police said the list had been validated and investigations were conducted. In a previous interview the UNTV News team had with Mayor Loreto Amante, he denied involvement in the drug trade. The UNTV News team continues to get the side of the candidates included in the list the PNP Calabarzon released. However, none has commented so far. Meanwhile, the PNP Calabarzon is monitoring 10 politicians with rivalry in the region. The police are also monitoring a criminal gang with over 100 members. The Police Regional Office 4A said they have operations underway and they continue to monitor the said groups to maintain peace and order during the elections. The PNP Calabarzon also presented the firearms they confiscated in the region to General Albayalde amid the implementation of the election gun ban. Based on Pro 4A, they seized 314 firearms from January to April 10, 2019, most of which are from Laguna and Cavite. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, Laguna.
And for the news abroad, U.S. Justice Department alleges that Julian Assange conspired with Chelsea Manning to break into a secret Pentagon computer network. This report tells us why. U.S. prosecutors announced charges on Thursday against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, accusing him of conspiring with former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to gain access to a government computer as part of one of the largest compromises of classified information in U.S. history. Assange, arrested by British police in London and carried out of Ecuador's embassy, faces up to 5 years in prison on the American charge, the U.S. Justice Department said in a statement. His arrest paved the way for his possible extradition to the United States. Assange's indictment arose from a long-running criminal investigation dating back to former President Barack Obama's administration. It was triggered in part by the 2010 publication by WikiLeaks of hundreds of thousands of U.S. military reports about the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and American diplomatic communications, a disclosure that embarrassed the United States and cost strained relations with allies. The Justice Department said Assange, 47, was arrested under an extradition treaty between the United States and Britain and was charged with conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. The indictment said Assange in March 2010 engaged in a conspiracy to assist Manning in cracking a password stored on Defense Department computers connected to the secret Internet Protocol Network, a U.S. government network used for classified documents and communications. The Justice Department said Manning had access to the computers as an intelligence analyst and was using them to download classified records to transmit to WikiLeaks. Cracking the password would have enabled Manning to log on under a username other than her own, making it harder for investigators to determine the source of the illegal disclosures, it said. Assange was secretly indicted in March 2018, and the indictment was unsealed on Thursday, a U.S. law enforcement official said. Manning, formerly named Bradley Manning, was jailed on March 8 after being held in contempt by a judge in Virginia for refusing to testify before a grand jury in what is widely believed to be related to the Assange investigation. Manning was convicted by court-martial in 2013 of espionage and other offenses for furnishing more than 700,000 documents, videos, diplomatic cables, and battlefield accounts to WikiLeaks while she was an intelligence analyst in Iraq. Obama commuted the final 28 years of Manning's 35-year sentence. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue. Israel's first spacecraft came up just short in its historic touchdown to the moon. Dennis Damasco will tell us why.
The first privately funded mission to the moon has crashed on the lunar surface after the apparent failure of its main engine. The Israeli spacecraft called Bereshit attempted a soft landing but suffered technical problems on its descent to the moon's surface. The aim of the mission was to take pictures and conduct experiments.
We finished an initial look at our telemetry data. It seems that the failure in our inertial measurement unit caused a chain of events in the spacecraft avionics, which cut off the engines and caused us to lose the mission. Nevertheless, we have achieved an amazing success in bringing a spacecraft to the moon.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu watching from the control room near Tel Aviv.
If at first you don't succeed, you try again.
Bereshit, whose name is Hebrew for the biblical phrase "in the beginning," had traveled through space for 7 weeks in a series of expanding orbits around Earth before crossing into the moon's gravity last week. The final maneuver on Wednesday brought it into a tight elliptical orbit around the moon, 15 to 17 kilometers or 9 to 10.5 miles from the surface at its closest. From there, it was a short, nail-biting, and ultimately disappointing conclusion. So far, only 3 nations have succeeded in carrying out a soft landing on the lunar surface: the United States, the Soviet Union, and China. Dennis Damasco, UNTV News and Rescue.
Former U.S. President Barack Obama sent a letter, Stevie Wonder sang, and Snoop Dogg called slain rapper Nipsey Hussle a peace advocate at a Los Angeles memorial attended by family members, friends, and thousands of fans. Mon Hokson tells us why.
Singer Stevie Wonder and rapper Snoop Dogg paid tribute to slain rapper Nipsey Hussle at his packed memorial service in Los Angeles on Thursday. Stevie Wonder, who performed one of Hussle's favorite songs at the service held at the Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles, made an emotional plea for an end to gun violence.
It is so painful to know that we don't have enough people taking a position that says, listen, we must have stronger gun laws. It's unacceptable. It's almost like the world is becoming blind. I pray that we will grow. I pray that the leaders who have a responsibility to perpetuate life will do it by making sure that the laws will make it so very hard for people to have guns and to take their frustrations out to kill life.
Rapper Snoop Dogg, who at times was struggling to hold back tears, praised the character of his late friend and collaborator and paid tribute to Nipsey Hussle's parents.
But he had vision for me that I didn't even have for myself. So I want to thank you, mother and father, for bringing Nipsey into this world, for giving us Nipsey.
The tributes from Stevie Wonder and Snoop Dogg followed a letter from former U.S. President Barack Obama that was read out at the memorial service. Obama's letter to the family was read by Cadogan Festival, Hussle's friend and business partner, on a stage filled with white, pink, and blue flowers. The former president praised Hussle's attempts to revitalize the gang-plagued neighborhood where he was raised and where he was gunned down last month. The 21,000 capacity Staples Center, a sports and pop concert venue, was packed for the 2-hour memorial, to be followed by a 25-mile procession through the streets of South Los Angeles. Security was tight because of Hussle's former gang connections. Last week, a stampede erupted at a local vigil for Hussle after reports of a gunman in the crowd. Hussle, who had parlayed his fame into a role as a community organizer and activist combating gang violence, was shot on March 31 outside the clothing store he owned in South Los Angeles. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Dumaraos. Good evening.
Philippine Ambassador to Brazil Marichu Mauro thanks international televangelist Brother Eli Soriano for his relentless public service, especially to Filipinos' affairs in Brazil. Jovic Burmans will tell us why.
There are about 1,200 Filipinos living and working in Brazil, the largest country in both South America and Latin America, and the world's 5th largest country by area. As part of its mandate to deliver outreach services to Filipinos under its jurisdiction, the Philippine Embassy in Brazil provided consular services to Filipinos in Florianopolis, the capital of southern Brazil's Santa Catarina state, on April 7, 2019. This date coincides with the 55th anniversary of international televangelist Brother Eli Soriano in his service to God and humanity. Philippine Ambassador to Brazil, Her Excellency Marie Chu Mauro, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, graced the occasion held on April 7th by Members Church of God International with Brother Eli as its overall servant.
Unang-una, pinapasalamatan ko si Brother Eli Soriano for inviting me here in this very important occasion. Kitang-kita nyo naman, napakaraming Pilipinong dumating at napakasaya nila na makibahagi sa okasyon na ito. Ang wish ko is mabigyan pa si Brother Eli ng another 55 years in his life to continue his ministry.
A total of 43 passport applications were processed during its consular outreach mission, according to the Philippine Embassy in Brazil. Various consular inquiries and concerns were also addressed. And in such consular outreach missions, Brother Eli and Members Church of God International are always ready to assist the Philippine Embassy in Brazil, located in capital Brasilia.
Kailangan po natin si Brother Eli. At nagpapasalamat din ako kay Brother Eli sa tulong na binibigay niya sa embassy. Pag nanghingi po kami ng tulong, halimbawa, sabihin namin, pumunta naman kayo sa Brasilia kasi may event kami, pupunta ho sila. Walang tanong-tanong. So, at iba pang klaseng tulong. So, let me use this opportunity to thank him publicly for his support to the Philippine Embassy and to the Filipino community. Not only here in Brazil, but around the world.
Aside from Brazil, the countries Colombia, Guyana, and Venezuela are also under the Philippine Embassy in Brazil's jurisdiction. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
Archaeologists and researchers plus technology are a great mix to come up with a 3D image of a site popular among pilgrims in Israel. Mirasol Abogadil will tell us why.
Using laser scanners and advanced photography, the arched stone-built hall in Jerusalem, venerated as the site of Jesus' Last Supper, has been digitally recreated by archaeologists. The site, called Cenacle, popular for pilgrims near Jerusalem's walled old city, has ancient, worn surfaces and poor illumination, hampering a study of its history. So researchers from Israel's Antiquities Authority and European research institutions used laser technology and advanced photographic techniques to create richly detailed, three-dimensional models of the hall built in the Crusader era. The project helped highlight obscure artwork and decipher some theological aspects of the second-floor room, built above what Jewish tradition says is the burial site of King David. Amit Riem, Jerusalem district archaeologist in Israel's Antiquities Authority, said such endeavor is a breakthrough.
We managed to penetrate the ancient stones. We managed to reach every corner of the building. We managed to create 3D models of this wonderful and sanctified place.
For Ilya Berkovich, a historian at the INZ Research Institute for the Austrian Academy of Sciences who worked on the project, the technology used in the project has huge potentials.
It opens incredibly new horizons. The potential is enormous. Having the technology will allow us to focus. We cannot look at everything with the same degree of detail. It will allow us to focus our energy on things that matter.
Some archaeologists, however, have questioned whether the room is the actual venue of the final meal, which the New Testament says Jesus shared with his disciples. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this April 12, 2019. On behalf of Vina Villamor Camara and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Mayor David Batangas, who is running for mayor is reportedly being supported by members of Batun Galaxy under sub-regional military area of the Southern Tagalog Regional Party Committee, and Mayor Amben Amante of Sampagu City and Board Member Dante Amante of the 3rd District of Laguna, who are reportedly being supported by the Amante drug group.
Wala na nga tubig, wala pang kuryente, napakainit pa ng panahon.
Ngayon negative na, ibig sabihin wala na talagang tayong mapapagpunang reserba. In fact, deficiency na tayo.
Sana po wag na po niyong paabutin pa na lumagpas tayo sa deadline para po hindi rin po kayo maabala or mag-penalty. Sayang din po yung penalties.
Ngayon, pagka talagang tagilid yan, I will outright veto the entire budget.
If at first you don't succeed, you try again.
Kailangan po natin si Brother Eli. At nagpapasalamat din ako kay Brother Eli sa tulong na binibigay niya sa embassy.